What is going on, guys? We are back to work on the Ferrari Powered FRS. Corey's not, but I am. Actually, Corey will be soon because I'm going to put him to work to do the stuff that I don't want to do. So what we are doing is replacing the dry sump oil tank that I built with a Peterson real dry sump oil tank with like the swirl pot and all that fancy shit. I built, you know, baffles and this little swirly thing into this. They've been doing it for way longer than me. This is my first one. We did have a little issue with getting air bubbles in the oil tank, and Corey's coming over here to say something dumb.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. You said you're gonna put me to work.
Yes.
So I essentially came to work today to work on a Ford Focus.
Yes.
And then now you are my boss telling
Yes.
me to work on my own car?
Yes, to get stuff out of my way so I can work on your car.
I have a really good job.
You're not getting paid. Anyways,
What?
so we're gonna pull the old oil tank, which Corey's gonna do. We gotta drain all the oil, and we're gonna remake the lines and hopefully have a good working oil system now. We're also, actually no, I think that's it. We're just gonna work on that, and then we'll see if we got anything else to do. So right here, I got a big selection of fittings from Finish Line Factory. There are boys down in Florida, got great fittings, and they've never leaked on us so far. Got some bulkheads, got some dash 16s for all the oil lines, and dash 12 for the oil vent lines. Got some of this like fire hose from them as well. There's the dash 16 hose, there's the dash 12 hose, and also this oil weld bung that we're going to have to weld onto the oil tank because it'll just require some modification. So it's a little bit dark in here, but we have the Peterson dry sump oil tank. This actually came out of some sort of Roush car at some point, according to the guys at Peterson. We got two dash 16 fittings up top. We're only going to be using one of them, and we have one dash 16 fitting at the bottom. We also have a bunch of fittings around the bottom edge, which I have no idea what they're for. So those are all going to get plugged. This right here, these two bands are actually oil heaters, so that'll keep the oil up to temperature when it's cold out or before the engine starts running, and that just helps deaerate the system. And this weld bung is going to get welded right there at a tube, or actually probably on the back side. And that's going to be the oil vent can, the oil catch can vent, because as the oil gets hot, it's going to build up pressure, and that pressure needs to go somewhere. So it goes to a catch can. So what we have here, we got a 90, a straight fitting. Both of those ran off the oil tank. And then we got a fitting right here going to a Vibrant ball valve, dash 16 ball valve. So this is actually going to prevent oil from siphoning out of the tank, which is there, and filling up the motor, because one of the issues we had is the dry sump oil tank, the whole oil level got dropped into the motor and actually caused the motor to hydro lock with oil. So that was a pain in the ass. We got this so we could just shut the oil flow off when the car's not running. And I'm going to put some sort of sensor on here to make sure it is open before the car starts running. Otherwise, you will starve it of oil. Then the other line right now is running up here. No fitting on this end as of yet. Boom. But that's going to get bulkheaded to under where the old oil tank is. And then this one, we're not exactly sure yet, but I think I'm just going to go through the floor with no bulkhead straight into the oil pump, which is down over there. All right, so this is the oil tank. So the oil tank, you cannot see in there, but we have a few baffle plates. We also have a tube coming in, doing a little spiral, letting it drop down onto the baffle plate, and then a little breather. And then this is pretty much straight through, and then this was going down to the feed. And this was the drain, which we never really finished, but it was gonna have a little hose going down to drain. And we'll be doing a similar drain setup on the new dry sump tank. We also had this little pin that I made that was pretty cool. That pin sat right in there. It held everything in place nicely. What I've done so far is drill a hole right there for the bulkhead. This is the original line that was running to the top of the can. and it is going to be running through the bulkhead, down into the car, and then to the top of the tank. And then the bottom of the tank is going to go underneath down to the line that Corey is currently removing, which is the other end of this line.
It sucks.
And it sucks. It's super tight under there. There's the oil filter, there's the adapter plate like right behind the oil filter. Somewhere in relation to there, there's the hose and fitting, which is AN, which is always a bitch to do. And there's an exhaust and all kinds of other stuff. So it sucks. So we got Corey's car over here on the lift because we need to get up underneath it. And I was sick of Corey's hood sitting over there. It was like right there in my way forever. So I'm going to finally just go ahead and finish cutting it so it can stay on the car. So it's got some shitty lines right there. Gonna chop it and then kind of work it out from there. Don't want to go too far. Maybe that's a little far on the sides, but we'll see where it sits. So let's get to cutting. Alright, not bad. I kind of wish I would have cut it a little slimmer previously, but nothing I can do about that. I need to pull a little bit out right there, and a lot out right here for the big throttle, whatever throttle body, something or other. And then this is a little close. This is a little far even. Hopefully it lines up well with that. So yeah. I think I'm not going to use this one anymore because that was a bit rough. I'm just going to use the angle grinder and kind of work it out and see. But first I'm going to throw on the front bumper, make sure we can get everything aligned because that'll be important. So with the front bumper cut, I got the rest of the hood cuts mostly done. I'm going to make sure this lines up, matches the angle and everything. Almost like I have it on this side, just gotta kind of take a little bit sharper. The fitment like this, you know, isn't perfect. The cuts aren't perfect, but I'm still gonna trim a lot. It's also a little weird. When I lift it like this, it catches on that side, so I might trim that. But also, I think, oh, nope. I kind of got to lift it by both sides, like use two hands. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I was considering doing like a carbon fiber trim ring, because that's what Corey was talking about originally. And then we could get it fitting really tight around there. And it'll probably stiffen up the hood, because that's a lot of flex, but that's not that important. We're going to be running a hood pin, you know, there and there. So it'll keep everything locked in, but I think it looks pretty fucking sweet. I'm hyped on that. And now all these TikTok kids can quit talking about us putting a hood on it and stuff. So there's that. Now I got this fitting right here, bulkheaded. I should have used a 90, but we are out of 90s, so we may change that later on. But for now, it's not too bad. The line kind of comes a little high and then swoops down. It would be nice if we could just tuck it, you know, real low the whole way, and then it just go in, but it's whatever. Also, hood's very floppy. We should do something about that, but I don't know what we can do about that. I'm going to be working on some of the fittings inside the car, so I cut this one down a little bit, and it's just gonna get 45'd into this side of the bulkhead. The other fitting is going through the floor, like I was saying. But first, I wanna work on getting the dry sump tank mounted, just so all the lines can be correctly sized. So there was this bolt hole right here, which is a factory bolt hole for something. Got that bolted up. Built this little bracket right here out of stainless steel, just some scraps that I had, and it's pretty solid. So what we're going to do is measure from there to there, and then measure from there to there. Drill a hole right here, and this will be a nut and bolt. And then we're going to build a similar bracket to this one down here, possibly off of this bolt hole or something else. I don't know, we'll figure it out once we get there. All right, so now I got this thing fully mounted, and it is solid, like, doesn't even move, which is good because it will hold about 25 pounds of oil, I'm gonna guess. So you don't want that to be moving. Just had this made this final bracket back here, which you can barely see. Let's see if I can squeeze my finger in there. So, see my finger right there? So, bolted to there. I'm gonna do some cleanup on it, obviously. And then bolted down here to the factory rear seatbelt lower bolt. And I think that'll be plenty. Got all 4 bolts. So now I can bolt up the lines for almost the final time. We're probably gonna have to pull this out just to, oh, I need to weld the vent on this. I just wasn't sure where to put it because I just wanted to be at the rearmost position. But now that it's mounted, I can throw the lines on and we can size the lines accordingly, and then we can kind of see what goes where. Let's tighten these lines up and then get them work, and then get to that. Now with the tank firmly mounted, got the lines hooked up to the tank, just hand tight for now. So we got one divider that we also got from Finish Line Factory right there. Swing around. Got another, I don't know exactly what they're called, little dual hose clamps. Then we got our vibrant ball valve, which is going to be mounted up right here. So it's in a good position for the driver to reach. It's also in a good position for the passenger to not fuck with. That's closed, that's open, so this is how it's going to be while driving. So that should be safe. So what I did, I pulled this back real quick. There was a hole right there for the AC drain, but since we're not running AC, we don't need the drain. Pulled the AC hose out, drilled the hole a little bit bigger. I need to make, sorry camera got grumpy, I need to make it a little bit bigger than that, just so the fitting can come out. By the way, we'll just plug them again right there. Boom, Finish Line Factory. They actually didn't sponsor this, but they've hooked it up before, so I'm hooking them up. So I just want to make sure the fitting can get out, just so this will be serviceable. And then there was a piece of styrofoam over there, so I just took a big cut out of it with my knife, and that should be fine. We might add some sort of little shield so passengers don't kick it, but for now we can just tuck that out of the way, and then this sort of tucks way over there, and even if it gets kicked a little bit, it still survives pretty well. So what I'm going to do is pull the line out, cut it on my mark, and then drill that hole out a little bit bigger and put some sort of sleeving along with some fire shield on this, just so it doesn't get hot around the exhaust. So let's get ahead and do that. Now I got both lines totally finished up. I'll show you what I did to the bottom of this. It's got a nice grommet going through the firewall and some heat shielding underneath. So that's all nice. This line goes up here to a 45. I might have been able to use a 90, but 45 is all I had. Again, still. So I probably should have ordered more 90s is the moral of the story. Got a bracket here, and it's sort of pretty well fixed. This is a good spot. Corey has a cool idea for a cover, but I'm not going to spill the beans in case it doesn't happen. It'll look pretty sick if it does. I also might add a little dead pedal safety box over this, just so these don't get kicked too much, because we don't want that, especially if, you know, you put a ton of pressure on that one right there. It might cause problems. I'm going to leave all this for Corey to tighten. If he wants to pressure test it out of the car, he is more than welcome to. But for now, it's pretty spicy. It's also going to get a little bit warm, so some heat shielding on this might be nice. But for now, at least we'll have oil, and we can tune and do whatever else we need. So now we're going to take this bung and put it on the dry sump tank. So up here I'm still using the same flange that we used to adapt to the factory oil pump down to a dash 16 fitting. Put the Finish Line Factory heat shield over all of this to a grommet right here. Same kind of grommet we're running up top for the electrical connectors. Just decided to...
How heat shielded is it?
No, not that good. I mean, it'll work for a second, but that is all for the oil lines. We just need to tighten everything up, and we can tighten the steering rack back in place, and then we have a good, reliable oil system, in theory.
If there's ever a fire, you could use this to slide over something to make sure it's protected, and you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, Corey. Gotta make sure your dick stays safe. It's not on TikTok, so I can say that.
Really?
Well, yeah, this is YouTube.
Oh, yo, it's a cock sleeve.
Yeah. On TikTok, I keep getting banned off of live because I make OnlyFans jokes and stuff. So, shouts out YouTube for having some freedom, I guess. So next up, we are going to be throwing the rest of the exhaust on here. Corey he was talking about twin turboing it, but I don't think we're going to do that because that's a whole, that's a whole big headache that we don't need to deal with yet.
Later.
So we're going to go from here to some vibrant resonators, go back, and then once we get to about here. Wow, this is actually really difficult. I'm holding my phone underneath my camera to have a bit of a flashlight. But once we get about right here, we're gonna have possibly 2 more vibrant resonators but we're gonna start it and see how it sounds first, and we may just go out the back straight piped. So stay tuned and we'll see what we do with that. So I got the drain line installed. We drilled a hole right there, and it has a -12 bung with a plug on the end. Still waiting on the plug, actually. Then oh shit, sorry, I'm falling over here. Crawl in. Ugh. So I welded a -12 fitting right there with a little hose, or a little metal pipe that goes in towards the center. And this is the vent tube, which is going down into the trunk. That'll be going to a vibrant catch can, which will then be vented out to the bottom of the trunk. Got this line installed, that line installed. Need to tighten that fitting and a couple other fittings. And for the most part, everything is done up in here. So, more work coming on this, more work coming on the 350Z. I just said 350. Everybody's been calling it a 350. It's a 370, and now I am saying 350. Fucking hate it here. Stay tuned, and let's party. So we got a massive fucking box using Corey for scale. Corey, lay on it, just if you can. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Oh. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so yeah, that'll yeah, that's a thing. So let's get this open and get Corey off of here.
Let's get Corey in the box and ship
Get
him
Corey.
out.
Yeah, let's get the motor and trans out.
Ow.
And then we'll ship Corey to wherever this thing came from.
All right. Where's the screen at? There we go.
Wow. This is a well-built crate. Let's take out Logan.
It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Thanks for the offer.
I'm gonna move. And then there's Matt's secretary. Unboxed hyper engine.
Yeah,
American.
the American way.
That's how we're going to save Kabul. We're putting this in the Z and driving it across the ocean.
So just hydroplane.
Right, all the way there. What'd you find?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Do you think it's okay?
I hope so.
It better be.
It's not good, it's just okay.
Yeah, me too.